All right, well, if everyone is ready, we're going to go ahead and get started. Um, and before we kind of jump into any learning or anything like that, I do want us to just take a moment to ground ourselves. So Cliff is going to be leading some opening breath work so that we can all just be grounded and mindful and fully present before we dive into the content.
All right. So, if possible, if you can just put your camera on, that way it will facilitate connection. We're just gonna do like an inhale, exhale, everyone, just like from the belly, not from the chest. That's where we hold most of the tension. So we're just gonna do one inhale and one exhale. One inhale, one exhale, one inhale. And on the exhale, we release the sound ah. Ah. Inhale again. Ah. One inhale again. And on exhale, we will say the sound mm-hmm. Inhale. Exhale. Mm-hmm. And another inhale. And exhale. Mm-hmm. And for those who don't know, that's a sound that we have in a lot of human cultures to like agree with one another. So usually you say mm-hmm when you agree. So we have your permission with the mm-hmm to have Megan leading the class.
All right, thank you. Thank you for that grounding. So, before we dive in, just to go over a few of the community agreements and flow for tonight. Like we said, cameras on when possible to support connection and honoring every voice, lived experience. Making sure that, especially when we go into breakout rooms, we're sharing airtime and keeping our contributions concise. I definitely encourage you to take notes as the insights do move quickly, and there will be time for Q&A at the end. And if there's a question that comes up that might require, more in-depth explanation, I might kind of just redirect you for a more in-depth session. And definitely stay to the end because we will have more kind of guided, intense breath work from Cliff, as well as some affirmations to really ground us in everything that we have learned tonight. And then we will also be doing our giveaway also towards the end. So make sure you stick around for that. We will be having you fill out a survey, and that will automatically enter you to win the giveaway. So please stay tuned for that. And this entire series has been brought to you by Reconnect Nonprofit, specifically the Reconnect Ancestry Fund, which is aimed at bringing holistic health and wellness to underserved communities. And for those unfamiliar, if you're new and joining, welcome. And the Reconnect Love movement is based on the foundations of laughter, oneness, and love. And it was born after the Bataclan attacks in Paris when Cliff Divine decided to launch a 50-state peace journey. So traveling to all the 50 states in order to spread peace and also reconnect people physically. And so our mission is really rooted in that physical human reconnection and built on the belief that healing happens together. Some of the impact is that it was spread across all 50 states and featured on over 30 news platforms, honored at the Academy Awards, and we have an upcoming docuseries in pre-production. So that's all very exciting. And I am Megan Devine, your host and teacher, and I am a 4/6 emotional manifester in my human design. I'm certified in holistic health, advanced human design, and I'm also a Reiki practitioner. I worked in education for 10 years and especially around social emotional learning. And I have studied Kabbalah up to level 7. So if you haven't been able to catch the replays, etc., we've been mostly discussing human design for the first two sessions and then going into some Kabbalistic wisdom in these final sessions here. So we're going to start off with an icebreaker question, and where I'll be sending folks into breakout rooms to discuss. And so, based on our learnings from last week, we talked a lot about, this concept of pausing, right? In Kabbalah, this concept is taught basically in order to increase awareness and prevent, like the kind of reactivity that leads to negative outcomes. So I want you to think about a moment from the past week when something challenged you emotionally, and you're going to be discussing with your partners. Um, was there a moment when you actually paused instead of reacting? So maybe it was something that, normally would have triggered you into a reaction, but you instead paused, maybe to some breath work or took some deep breaths, and then you were able to, um, actually redirect your energy. Or on the flip side, if potentially there was a moment when you reacted first and then later realized that you should have paused or you wish you had paused. Um, and regardless of which direction you went in, ultimate goals, we want to know, what did that moment teach you about yourself and your patterns? Okay, so what did you learn from it, whether you paused or did not pause? So I'm going to be sending us into breakout rooms so we can discuss. All right. Did we have anyone who would like to share briefly, maybe something that stood out or an insight from when they were sharing with their partners?
Share ours or the other person's?
Could be yours, or just if there was an insight maybe that you got from when the other person shared. It's up to you.
Okay. What I got from what my partner was sharing to me in the conversation was that he was working uh, be to understand people in like more emotionally charged, like already emotionally in charged environments through the work that she's doing. And so finding a way to ground the space so that she's able to have a full conversation to understand if they're the right fit for her initiative or not, has uh, prompted her to practice more pauses.
Mm, nice. Thanks, Eureka.
Yeah.
Thank you for
Anyone else?
articulating that, Eureka.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
I was his
did you
partner.
have anything to add? If you want to add anything, since that was your share, feel free.
Yeah, well, I mean, what I was sharing is um we're out there helping get political issues on the ballot. And we're doing this on behalf of our nonprofit. So we're kind of raising funds, but we were in Long Beach earlier this week, and then we were in Mission Viejo today. So the views are very different. So you're kind of in a space where you're talking about taxes. You might be talking about attorneys and attorney fees. So you have a lot of reactions coming up. So I kind of like prime myself to stay as grounded and to let people really finish their thoughts. And I've noticed the more I was able to do that, the more I could stay grounded and just be open to actually hearing what they have to say and not react to them, but just really genuinely respond. But it's just been a very interesting week because politics, I mean, we're so emotionally charged. So I could see somebody initially come in and they're like, da 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 da. And I'm just listening. And then they come back down to earth. They're like, what is your petition about? And then they sign all of them. And I'm just like, it's just so beautiful to see the
Yeah.
emotions. And if I could stay grounded, pause, ask more questions, the more they're I can receive what I need. So it
Nice.
was a interesting week, but I did use lots of pausing and I did breath work on the way to some of these um, meetings that I was at. So I've used a lot of the tools that I've been learning here over the last couple weeks.
Amazing. I love that. Well, thank you for sharing, both of you. Okay, just to do a little bit of review from last week, and it's okay if you weren't here, but for those of us that were, just to kind of highlight some of the main topics, who can recall for us what it means to be like the light from the teachings last week? What does it mean to be like the light? Ron Yvonne, do you remember? She's like, I don't.
I honestly, I'm trying to look at my notes because I watched all of the other two classes last week too to
Mm.
get caught up. So it's all in there. But I promise you, I've been paying attention, and I think Cliff will back me up on that.
I'm sure that he will.
Throw him under the bus.
Yes. No, no worries at all. That's a lot to take in all at once if
It
you've
is
had
a
them
lot.
all in a row. So yeah, no worries. And Tisha, did you want to share something that you remember?
Yeah, I was also trying to look for my notes, but would this be where um the experience is moving through you? So I know we had learned, yeah, like think, why is this happening to me? What can I learn from this? Well, how can this be worked through me?
Yes, exactly. So when you are like the light, that means that oh, there's a doggy. Um, I love it. When you're like the light, that means that you do what the light would do. The light always comes from a giving place, right? The light is not reactive, it is proactive. Um, and it is also, when you become a channel, right? You become a channel for the light. So that's the through me part where it's I want to receive, but not for the self alone, but rather to share, right? So that's when you have the affinity to the light. And then the second question is around the concept of certainty. So if anyone can help us articulate kind of what is certainty from the Kabbalistic perspective, if you remember.
I don't, but I have a question for both questions, the first two.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I guess you can, I guess, go through what certainty is and then respond, but how do these two questions resonate with, like, I guess, Mike Tyson's idea of everyone has a plan until they get punched in the face?
Yeah, that that's the kind of question that I know Cliff has asked, especially when I started studying Kabbalah. He's like, "That's all great, but what happens when, an active shooter comes in the room or something like that, right?"
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's a great question, and honestly, kind of something I shared last week too is that um, sometimes being like the light means setting a firm boundary and not letting whatever that negative force is cause destruction, right? So it's it's not become a doormat, right? Being like the light is not being a doormat, but it's you know in one of those situations, right? There have been times where an active shooter comes in the room and a normal citizen is able to stop them, right? And prevent either any deaths or further deaths from happening. In that moment, that person is being like the light. Even if they have to use active force to take that person down, they are acting like the light because ultimately, like the light doesn't want that kind of, evil destruction of its creatures and beings happening. Um, and so, yeah, it's, when now, like, there's so many factors of like what is the context of this person getting punched in the face, but what did they do? No, I'm kidding. But it really is like dependent on any given situation. It's so specific to any situation that there's no like one blanket rule for being like the light. Like it's gonna be very specific to the context of the situation, and that's kind of why I shared the active shooter situation. That's a specific context, right? But later on we're going to do some workshopping where we look to see, okay, what is your situation that you want to look at, the challenge that you have, and then in that context, what does it look like for you to be like the light, if that makes sense.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. And then does anyone remember what tikkun is? The concept of tikkun.
It's the shit that you gotta work on.
Hmm. That's actually word for word how they describe it in the Zohar. Um, so basically, it's what you came here to correct, right? So whatever baggage your soul brought in from the last lifetime, um, that you carried with you, it is what you are here to transform. So it looks different for different people, right? Depending on your design, your astrology, and your personal situations and the things you've got going on. but it's essentially the thing that's going to help indicate to you, okay, here's the area I need to transform in order to access more light. Because all of us are surrounded by light constantly. The key is that we have to eliminate the negative things, traits, tikkun around us in order to allow that light to flow in more intensely. Okay, excellent. So now I'm going to talk about some things that are going to help us to do that and access that light. First one up is negative speech. So the concept of negative speech in Kabbalah, they say that, and it's not only in Kabbalah, this is also metaphysics, right? Like scientists have proven this when, if you look at the experiments where they're talking to glasses of water or talking to plants, if they use negative speech, it has a negative impact, right? Like this is not just a Kabbalah thing. But it's this concept that negative speech actually has an impact, first of all, on our own vibration, right? Also on the people who are listening and the energetic environment around us, right? So, like the entire space that we are in is impacted. And one of the concepts that they specify in Kabbalah, which is a bit of a nuance here, is that even if something is true, speaking it can still create spiritual harm if it damages another person. Some examples of negative speech include gossip or speaking about someone who is not present. That's probably one of the hardest ones for all of us, myself included. I am a Gemini. um, and it's, one of those things where it's really like a muscle and a habit that you have to build and use what we call like restriction, right? Of as fun it would be to just like talk trash about this person the whole time, right? It's actually causing me harm when I do that. Repeated complaining is also a form of negative speech. Criticism that's meant to diminish someone else, as opposed to being constructive. Bragging or ego-driven self-promotion. Sharing information that creates jealousy or resentment. This is one of the ones that like I really had to kind of internalize more deeply because for example, if somebody is in like a bad situation, I know they're in a bad situation, and I'm just like going on and on about how great my life is and how great all my relationships are and my new car and all these things, and like I'm just like, oh, I'm just expressing joy, right? But at the same time, if I know that like they're already in a upset place about their situation, it can actually cause harm, uh, both to them and then to myself energetically. So just being aware of that as well. And now to distinguish between, because it's not that we should never be able to say something that's wrong, right? Like we should always, if there's something wrong, like we need to address it in some way. And so that's when we get to the difference between processing something versus complaining about it, right? So processing is when we're sharing honestly in a safe space and the other person is in a place to help us process that information, right? Or that thing that happened. Um, and we're doing this in order to get clarity or to help resolve the issue in some way, right? That's processing. Okay, so it's not to say that like, oh, something negative happens to you, you should never talk about it, right? That's not at all what we're saying. Eureka said a lot of bars. Yes. Cliff has told me maybe I should rap. Maybe. Um, but essentially, the difference then in complaining is that complaining means, you know, after I, or in a context that's not about processing, I just want to tell this negative story to whoever was going to listen to me, right? I want to tell it to the mailman. I want to tell it to my best friend. I want to tell it to my mom. I want to tell it to my sister. Like that becomes complaining, right? That's when we get that negative energy around it because at this point, it's no longer about processing and it's just about, I just want to keep retelling this negative that happened. Okay. So a good practice when we're about to speak is basically thinking, is it necessary? Right? And is it conscious? So am I about to speak from a conscious place, right? Am I about to say something that's gonna be helpful either to me or to others? And if not, sometimes silence can be the best option. Um, okay. And another thing that can arise when it comes to, being like the light, spreading light, is that in relationships, we have this concept of what we call closing space. So, space is created when there's emotional distance or tension between people. This can come from unprocessed reactions, avoided communication, can come from assumptions uh, that have occurred instead of open, honest dialogue. It can come from unresolved resentment, and the goal is not to ignore the space, but to consciously close it, which is much easier said than done, as we all know. Um, because it comes with the fact that we, first of all, have to take responsibility for our own reactions, whatever that reaction might be. Um, and then we also have to approach the situation with awareness and choose connection over ego. So essentially, that means that, you know, closing space, we have to come from a place of definitely forgiveness is very helpful. And I know this is a practice that Cliff actually taught me that was very helpful is the in a daily meditation, using like a forgiveness practice, basically going through and see, where do I have space with someone? Where is there a person where there's like a tension or a resentment or some kind of negative emotion, and am I able to forgive them, as a practice that's going to help actually my energy to be better and more aligned. One of the ways that we can close space is called proactive confrontation. So this is um, it's a pretty hefty concept, and it's usually not taught until Kabbalah too, because you kind of have to be, ready for it. I know that the people who are here are able to go really deep, so that's why I felt like I could give it to you. But essentially, proactive confrontation is something that can only happen after you reach an emotionally neutral place. So if you still feel any kind of negative feelings, bitterness, resentment, or some type of way towards the person or thing that has happened, that means you're not yet in a place to use proactive confrontation because you're still in a reactive state, right? So we have to release that reactivity, get to a neutral state, and then we can use proactive confrontation. If you are like planning a conversation and you're like, I can't wait to tell this person what they did wrong. Oh my God, they've been doing it for months and it's just the last straw. And now I'm about to tell them, right? Obviously reactive. If that's how you feel going into the conversation, you have eliminated all proactive confrontation and you are in a reactive place. Okay. Because that's not it. Um, it's actually the kind of conversation that you might dread it. If it's actually proactive, you might be like, this is going to be tough. It's going to be a hard, honest conversation. And there's a lot to process. And I need to find a time and a space where I feel this person is in, the most receptive place. And I have now let go of any of my negative feelings towards them. At this point, it's just about resolving the issue, listening to each other, right? That's the approach with proactive confrontation. And of course, you could start out in a proactive place and then potentially slip into reactivity, at which point, what do? We pause, right? So if you start out in proactive confrontation, maybe the person says something that triggers you, you feel yourself getting reactive. Now it's time to pause. Maybe table the conversation for another time if you both get reactive, right? Take some deep breaths. Maybe take some time in physical space. Physical space doesn't always necessarily mean emotional space, right? Sometimes taking physical space can actually help to bridge the gap of emotional space if it gives both of you time to let go of the reactivity and then come back to a place of neutrality, if that makes sense. Okay, so just being aware that space, when we talk about space, it's not necessarily about physical space, right? Okay, so that's proactive confrontation. So the main steps are pausing and processing your reaction first, identifying your responsibility in the situation. Again, easier said than done. Approaching the conversation with the intention of connection, not the intention of being right. So again, if you go in with, I know I'm right, let me tell this person, you are not coming from a proactive place. Speak from your experience instead of accusation, right? This is pretty common, especially in like even, therapy language. They talk about this using I statements, feeling statements, as opposed to when you did this and all this stuff. And then listen openly to the other person, right? Whatever it is that they respond to your proactive confrontation, be willing to listen openly and receive what it is that they come at you with. Now, again, if they come at you with reactivity, that's a place to pause, right? Before continuing the conversation. And of course, the ultimate goal, like we said, is to heal the relationship. It's not to win the argument. Okay, that's the ultimate goal. Another thing that can help us to understand how to be like the light is called the law of affinity. And the law of affinity, I'm sure you've heard it in regards to like manifestation and different things like that, but it's essentially that like attracts like. So your vibration is going to attract things that are at a similar vibration. What often can happen, right, is that someone might look at themselves and be like, well, I'm a 10. Like, why do I keep attracting all these twos and fours? Like, what's wrong with those people? Like, get those dum-dums out of my life, right? However, what is actually happening is that regardless of what you think of yourself and all of the different areas of your life, if you are attracting someone that you see as a two, right, it means that something in you is vibrating at a two that was able to match their vibration. And it may not be obvious what that thing in you is, right? Because on paper and on like a lot of different fronts, it could look like you're all great and all set and very aware and awake in a lot of different areas, but there's something in you that needs to shift, and there's a reason why they're in your movie, right? So the question becomes, why is this person in my movie? What are they here to teach me about myself? And it might be a totally different category, right? When you look at them and you're like, oh, they're a two in their physical health or in their, consciousness level, right? So it may not be that you're physically out of shape or that you're lacking in consciousness. You may have a totally different area of your life where you're a two or where you're on a similar vibration. And that's the kind of thing that you have to really dig deep and look at in yourself and say, what is it in me that was vibrating at that same level that I need to shift? Right. And that goes back to the concept of tikkun, right? Usually that means there's an area of your life where they're there to show you one of your tikkun, one of your corrections that you need to make. And you have to figure out what is that. Okay. All right. The last thing before we get into some discussion time is in Kabbalah, there is something called the tree of life. And it's very similar to in human design, we have the body graph. In the Hindu system, we have the chakras. And all of these things align, right? They're all interrelated. They're just different modalities, different histories. However, they're all saying something similar, which is that there is a way to align our energy, right? And in Kabbalah, on the right column, we think of it as this energy of sharing, compassion, expansion. Your right hand is the hand that you give with, right? And then the left column is this energy of boundaries, discipline, discernment, judgment. And the goal, right, is to meet in the middle and find that balance, right? So the middle column, we talk about balanced consciousness, wisdom, as well as compassion, strength, as well as openness. So it's finding that balance between the two. And there are different modalities that talk about it different ways. Buddhism, they call it the middle way or the middle path. Christianity, the narrow path or walking in Christ's balance or in Jesus's footsteps. They talk about it in different ways, but it's all about, creating that balance within ourselves. And then we see that balance reflected in our environment after. Okay, so I know that was a lot of intense concepts. But what I would love to do now, and I think we have Marlon joining us. Marlon, let us know if you're able to hear us, see us, etc. But we will be breaking into breakout rooms. And so what I would love for us to discuss is there a relationship in your life where space currently exists? And again, we don't mean just physical space, right? We're talking about that emotional space. You could live with the person. They could be right next to you, and there could be space in the sense of some form of emotional resentment, okay? Or tension. And we also want you to discuss then what might closing that space look like for you in that specific situation. And can you identify a situation where the law of affinity might be inviting you to look within? So question 3, it's okay if you don't get to that one. First 2 questions are the main ones I want you to focus on. If you get to number 3, totally fine. So where's the relationship in your life where space currently exists? And then what might closing that space look like for you? Okay. For me, yeah, I would say the biggest relationship where there's still space in my life. So, by the way, we talked about the concept of space in Kabbalah, which is that there's like an emotional resentment or tension between you and another person. So, it doesn't mean like physical space, it's about like the emotional space. And for me, that's definitely my mom. We always had like a strained relationship, but then, yeah, she's very like critical, and she gives a lot of criticism and judgment and instruction directives without being invited to. So that's usually a place where what it looks like for me is one, taking physical space away from her. That helps me to not be as resentful of her. And then also doing forgiveness practices towards her, which it's definitely helped. Like it's helped to resolve a lot of my grievances on my side, was just like using more understanding approaches, as opposed to judgmental approaches, and then giving myself like that space away from her basically. So yeah, that's mine. But feel free to share in the chat if you're able to. I'm gonna bring people back now. And then yeah, we'll do some workshopping, so you'll be able to benefit from that too. And yeah, oh, by the way, for number 3, the law of affinity is that like attracts like. So if you are attracting people of a certain vibration, it means that something in your vibration is matching theirs. And that's the law of affinity, because we can only attract things that are like us. So even if it seems like you're way up here and this thing that you attracted or this person is down here, there's something in you that's matching their down here energy that you need to correct and fix in order to elevate and attract people and things that are at a higher vibration. Hopefully that makes sense. That's a very brief explanation of the law of affinity.
Thank you,
All
Cliff.
right.
Thank you, Mike. Thank you, Ron. And you go by Ron Yvonne or Ron?
Either one. I tell people Ron is shorter and that's much easier. Ron Yvonne is a mouthful, but Ron is fine. Yep. You're good.
Okay. And did you know Yvonne is it stands for tree?
I did not know that.
Yeah.
I did not know that, but I love that. And thank you so much. I appreciate
Look at it.
I'm
Okay.
going to. I'm going to.
And I think when we looked at it, it was specifically like the yew tree, right? The YEU, that tree. It was like,
Really?
it's like this like elder tree of like wisdom and
That's
yeah.
hysterical. I love
Yeah.
that. Thank you. Thank you for that. I love that. Thank you. I really do. I appreciate that. And I'm going to look that up.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
stands. It's from the French yew tree, and it represents strength, longevity, and resilience.
Hmm. Amazing.
So if you don't know, now you know.
I hope I really need that longevity in that present, so I hope so.
I love it.
Thank
Okay, amazing. And also Marlon is here. He's joined us. He's about to be at a campsite, so that's amazing and exciting for him. And that's why the connection is also on and off. Um, okay, so I'm glad that we got to discuss and I was able to share mine with Marlon. And I was telling him about, the space between me and my mother. That's kind of like the number one relationship in my life where that exists. And I also told him that taking physical space away from her was actually something that helped me to close the emotional space between us. So sometimes it does work out that way where there's a needed physical space and boundary in order to close that emotional space and let the healing and forgiveness take place in that. So what I want to do now is do some workshopping with folks and basically apply these tools. So we're going to invite at least two people to share. If we have time, we can do three, but I want to get at least two people to give us a real life situation, right? Um, can be a person that you have space with, could be just something from this past week or something that's currently in your life where there's like, an emotional reaction that occurred, and space may have opened up. And then we're going to just kind of discuss what it might look like for you to pause and potentially use proactive confrontation, in order to resolve it. So, uh, who would like to share and be our first workshop participant?
I feel Mike, he wants to share, Mike.
Amazing.
Mike,
Okay.
no, but like, Mike, do you want or not?
I can. I don't think I'm the best example. Let's see.
It's okay. Was
No,
there
I
a
don't have
situation
anything for this. No.
from, oh, was there a person that you shared about in your breakout room, maybe?
Yeah, but I don't see how any of it applies. I don't see how
Mm,
pausing hasn't helped, proactive confrontation hasn't helped. Uh, I have been thinking about the law of affinity. Uh, Still thinking about that. I don't think I'm the best example for any of this.
That's okay. Um, I would love to have someone share. Who else feels like they can share? Eureka, I know you said yours might die soon, so maybe you can share. That way you can at least experience this piece.
All right. Um, I realized that mine may be like, I mean, mine's like one of my high school friends that I was, he's also my business partner like a few years ago when I started doing stuff in person with my martial arts friend. So I stopped after a year and then we kind of paused and did different things. Um, so I don't really know if what the gap is because there's always been times in our friendship when we kind of like went different ways and then we come back together and then train or compete or whatever and then go separate ways again. But I think overall it's kind of I realized when I was talking to Tisha that it felt more like a healthy rivalry. So I don't really know how
Hmm.
to go about that. But he doesn't like fighting, or at least he says he doesn't like fighting. He like physically, like doing like martial arts or anything like that. But he does like doing uh the trick side of it, like the showmanship part of it. And
Hmm.
so he does like to be more uh aggressive with his words sometimes. So it's like
Hmm.
maybe that's part of what the the connection is there is bridging that gap verbally with him as opposed to like physically. Because I don't really try to push the boundary too much. Um, and so I just, if we kind of feel like we're disrespecting each other, then I feel like we kind of just don't talk to each other. And then eventually we talk to each other again.
Okay.
Because we both were going through something that caused me to end the agreement that we had at the gym. It wasn't anything between us necessarily, but there was something that we were both going through. And it was very similar, but we both handled it in different ways.
Okay. And do you feel like when he handled it differently, for example, like what kinds of feelings did you have towards that?
So,
Oh, you're cutting out. Are you still
oh, can
okay?
you hear me?
Sorry, you say that again.
Yeah.
What kinds of feelings did you have towards him or towards that situation? It looks
And
like
a little bit of irritation too. It's like,
okay. Sorry, you're
oh,
cutting in and out. I heard
hello?
irritated.
Oh, yeah, maybe a little sadness, a little irritation that he's not seeing a more positive side of it.
Okay, got it. So sadness and irritation. And from what I'm gathering, it sounds like you've kind of already taken some physical space
Yeah,
from each other. Yeah.
yeah,
Um, is it something that are you interested in continuing to work with him in that same capacity
yeah,
as
yeah,
before?
yeah.
Okay.
I actually reached out to him about it.
Okay. And so what do you think you would need to address with him in order for moving forward there to not be that kind of same conflict that it seems like you've been having in the past?
Mhm. A great question. Um, not too sure.
Something to reflect on. Does anyone else have anything that might be helpful for Eureka that they would want to contribute? Cliff?
Um, is your friend a conflict avoidant?
Yes.
That's it.
Yeah.
And sometimes people who are conflict avoidance because they have emotion, they're usually emotional sometimes.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
it's like a non-aligned way to deal with emotion, and they don't want to have the conflict. So they need space and time that are set for them to be at a feel-good place. And then when they're at that feel-good place, then you will be able to have more good
Right.
conversation. But if you go and you meet them and they're not at the feel-good place,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, they're not gonna want to resolve anything that needs to resolve.
Yeah.
Megan, can I just say something?
Yeah.
Just something that was it's so simple and it was so profound to me. Um, I watched this guy on YouTube and he said, sometimes we have to realize that we may have healed from the wound, but the other person may not have healed from the wound yet. And we have to allow them the space to get to where we are. And sometimes that's the hardest thing. And I think silence it's yeah, that's a theme in the last 24 hours with me. So
Mm.
yeah. So I just wanted to share that.
Yeah, thank you. That's really, really powerful. That came up for me recently as well, where like the other person had kind of gotten over something, but I wasn't over it yet. And then they tried to like approach me and I lashed out at them because like I wasn't over it, right? I didn't have the time, space, capacity yet to get to that place of healing. So yeah, that's huge. Thank you for sharing that. Okay. Any other last thoughts? I know Eureka, you're gonna kind of maybe reflect on especially what Cliff said. Oh, he's gone. Cliff, you're gonna text him and tell him what to do. You're a projector. Um, just text him and tell him what to do. hopefully he's going to reflect on what it is that he can do with that person as far as approaching the proactive confrontation, though, because it does sound like Ron Yvonne was saying there's a discrepancy between if that person has like some emotional baggage still attached. Sounds like Eureka might be over it, but the other person might not be. So keeping that in mind. Okay. And then Marlon shared in the chat, I don't know if everyone got a chance to see it, but he did say that his was in regards to his dad. Sometimes he feels like it helps him to respond more patiently with others around him. His father has a real bold personality, so he's learned to take his time and allow the energy and excitement to even out. Okay, yeah. So coming to that place of like more balanced or neutrality, um, as opposed to, approaching something when the feelings are heightened. So thank you, Marlon, for sharing. And then I would love to have one more person go for workshopping. Who's up for it? It's either going to be Tisha or Ronnie Vaughn. Who wants to go? Be brave. Be brave. Ron, you're going to go?
Do it. I'm going to do it.
Yes.
So I mean, I shared a lot in the rooms today. I do have space with my youngest, and it's painful, and it's been 5 years now. We did have, we tried to reach out to that individual last year, and it did not go well. It was a catastrophe. So at that point in time, I decided that I needed to create kind of what I feel is permanent space now. Because I do think there's a lot of expectations on parents that we always have to leave the door open. But when cruelty comes from someone else, it's really, I don't think that we have to accept it when it's the other way around. I think children don't have to accept cruel parents, and I think parents don't have to accept cruel children. And so it is painful, but as I said in the room, I have realized how much I've grown in the last year. I have put myself out there more in this last year than I ever had, because I realized that those negative tethers that I was holding for that individual, and that they're obviously holding for me, was not serving a purpose for me. It was weighing me down. It was causing me to not move forward with the things that I wanted to do. And so I made a decision that I had to love that person from afar, and that's what I'm doing. And I chose to put me first in all aspects of my life. I've lost 100 pounds in the last year. I went on a 5.5 mile hike by myself the other day. I participate in a hiking group, and I go hiking 4 to 5 times a week now. It's about me, and I'm grateful for that.
Thank you so much for sharing. That's beautiful. Thank you. Let's hold some space for her and give her some positive energy. Cliff, can you lead us in sending her some positive vibes?
Yeah, let's all put our hands there. Even Mike, if you can, we will feel it.
Yeah.
Let's put our hands and just like direct our energy, positive energy, to run Yvonne and help her to stand strong and stand on business and stay in the light.
Thank you, Cliff.
Yes. Beautiful. Wow. That's so powerful. Yeah, one of the things that we learn when it comes to creating balance in our lives, when I was talking about the two sides of the tree of life, you have the right side, which is chesed, which is mercy, and you have the left side, gevurah, which is the judgment. And too much of either is not a good thing, right? If we have too much mercy, we're a doormat. If we have too much judgment, then we're anal retentive and no one wants to be around us, right? But if we have the balance and the discernment of, like Ronnie Vaughn said, sometimes we do have to set that boundary even when the person is close to us and say no more, right? To this this cruelty or this negative energy, because we deserve love, right? We deserve love. And it's fascinating because sometimes you can have space with someone who is not even here with us on earth anymore, right? My brother has deep space with our father, who passed away in 2011, and they never closed the space while my father is alive, and then my father passed away. That doesn't actually mean that we can't close the space. The person You can close a space without being physically with the person. So even like in Ronnie Vaughn's case, even if they're no longer, going to be in contact with each other, she can still close that space by doing exactly what she's doing, which is loving herself, forgiving herself and that person, right? And healing that wound so that there's no longer this resentment or any kind of, residual negative feeling. And that can be what closing the space looks like, right? It doesn't mean that every single time it's going to be, and now we have an intervention, and now the person turns their life around, and now they're a different like it doesn't always look like that, right? So thank you so much, Ronnie Vaughn, for sharing that example of how it can look and feel different depending on the situation. So yeah, I really appreciate that. And it's clear, right, that because of her frequency, she's elevating her frequency. Everything she described about her whole journey of getting healthier and hiking and taking care of herself, she's elevating her frequency, and therefore she can no longer accept that lower frequency, even if the lower frequency is in her child, right? And this is just what happens sometimes. The same way I shared with Marlon about how the negative frequency was in my parent, and I could no longer be in the same physical space with her, right? This can also happen. So really, really appreciate you being vulnerable and sharing that. It's so powerful. All right. So whew, let's take a deep breath. And recenter. All right. I'm going to be opening it up now. If anyone has any questions about the things that we covered, um, anything that they would like clarified, now is the time. We have a few minutes to do some Q&A. So if anyone has any pressing questions, feel free to ask away.
Can you re-explain real quick the law of affinity? Just want to make sure we all have the same definition.
Okay, yes. So the law of affinity says that like attracts like, meaning that you can only attract something that is matching a frequency that you hold inside of you. So even if it seems on the surface level that a certain person, place, environment is energetically, quote unquote, beneath you, right? That means that there is something in your frequency or vibration that is matching that frequency and was allowing it to be attracted to you. And the goal with acknowledging that law is to essentially look at, what is this thing trying to show me about myself? And what is it that is resonating in me that is attracting something or someone at this frequency? What do I need to shift in order to elevate to a higher frequency, if that's my desire? It's not to say that everything we attract is negative, right? You might attract an amazing person, and if and when you do, that's a good confirmation that you're elevating at a high level frequency, right? So that's kind of the gist of it. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay, great. Any other questions before we move into the next segment? Cliff, before we give them the survey time, if you could touch on the Reconnect Sunday Circle and what that's going to look like. That way they know what those questions are about.
Yeah. So, hi everyone. I'm Cliff.
Hi, Cliff.
Hey, so we're gonna start an initiative of Reconnect, which is called the Reconnect Sunday Circle. We still are figuring out the exact place, but the idea is that it will be every Sunday at 1 p.m. And basically, we will gather in person and we will also gather online. The idea with Reconnect is really to build like a bridge between the new technology and the physical world and not let the technology use us, but use the technology for the good of humanity. So the goal with those reconnects and the circle will be to come together physically or online, have interaction between people who could come physically and not, and really have an hour where like people can have like community building, meaningful interaction. If they have something that they will deal, for example, we could have a theme like what it means to, for example, not let your wounds being open, what it means to heal and not always have to heal again, what it means to protect your energy, therefore. So that could be some of the theme. And then we might have some like leaders of different because we are about interfaith, different religions, different beliefs. If all those beliefs are for healing people and helping people, that comes and then they share their take. We might also have like some dance performance around that theme, because I'm very familiar with the world of dancing and performance. And so it's going to be an hour where it's like people not only going to come online or physically and just be like looking at like a service, but be part and really take off to your higher self. And then I don't know if some of you know the Stargate SG1, the TV series. But
Stargate.
basically, it's like it. I had this idea 10 years ago of like building a portal that basically will interconnect people from different from different part of the world. And so recently they discovered that it's about they build a portal. So the vision in the future will be to have a portal at the place where people from two different cities will be able to talk to each other. So,
Mm.
uh,
Oh,
yeah, yeah. So the goal will now it will we still looking for the place, but also what we want to have is that each time that we go to a place, we want to see if there's someone else that can host either in their garden or like some a place that they want. That way, the energy does not stay static, but it keeps moving in the same idea that in life, when we stay too static in a place, the energy can rot. So we'll have one central place and then invitations in different places. And like I
Mm.
said, it's all about like, like the slide says, an hour to reconnect, feel good, and to take off to our higher self in order to be a really like a community, a tribe that we're here to ascend and to heal the world because the world need more love than anything else.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you, Cliff. So if you see those questions on the survey that reference Reconnect Sunday Circle, that is what we are referring to. So I'm gonna give you some time now to complete the survey and just let me know if anyone has trouble accessing it. Just let me know, and then I'll troubleshoot you with you. But other than that, we're gonna take 5 minutes now to complete the survey. And I forgot to mention, and upon completion of the survey, you will be entered to win a ticket to our upcoming day retreat, which is about reconnecting to the true love frequency. So it's going to be a like fully interactive experience with reconnection, energetic alignment, frequency elevation, like we're talking with the law of affinity, and really developing that love of self and others. Um, so yeah, anyone who is completing the survey will be entered to win that.
Yeah, also it's gonna be in a garden of flowers.
Yes. Lots of beautiful flowers around. Okay. Well, we have a winner because I just did the spinner, and the winner is, drum roll please, da, 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 da. Ronnie Vaughn.
Oh,
Congratulations.
thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, we're so excited to have you participate at the Reconnect to the True Love frequency. It's going to be amazing.
It will be amazing.
Yeah, very exciting. All right. And thank you for those of you who completed the survey. Really, really helpful to get that feedback. And then just a reminder before we close out that Cliff is going to be leading the breath work and grounding at the end. So make sure to stick around. And just some final closing reflections. A reminder that, everything is really here to help us transform, right? That's our ultimate goal, that we came on this earth to grow and transform. So, you know, make sure that you're giving yourself the care and love that you deserve, in order to be in the space to even pause when you need to pause, and to be in the space to, be open to growth, and to encourage that in others. Because as soon as you elevate your frequency, the frequency of the people around you will either elevate or they will leave. That's the other rule about the law of affinity. If you elevate, if you're like living with a person and you're like, wow, like they're bumming me out, their energy is low, elevate your frequency, right? And they will elevate with you inevitably. And also hold the belief that they can. That's a big one. Hold the belief that they are able to grow and transform, and that will actually give them more strength and energy to do the transformation that they need to do, right? Instead of thinking like, oh, they're never going to change, they're always going to be terrible. If you give them that belief within yourself, right? Hold that belief, and internally, it's actually going to be an energy that helps them to transform. Yeah, and just a reminder to, choose awareness, choose compassion, choose growth, and continue to work on expanding your vessel. That's the reason that you're here, even participating in something like this, is because you want to grow, you want to transform, and you want to expand and make more room for light in your life. So I appreciate all of you even taking that initiative to do so. So thank you so much. And just some reminders that if you would like to stay informed for upcoming events, you can go to reconnect-movement.com/events. We have an upcoming in-person event on April 12th at Will Rogers Memorial Park, and it's a Reconnect Oneness event. Always amazing. Tisha and Eureka are also going to be there, and they are just beautiful additions in their own right to the energy, and we look forward to having new people join us. So I'm going to now hand it to Cliff to lead the closing, reconnection, and then we will sign off. Oh, you have to unmute.
Let's leave her. I was like, I was saying, let's give a round of applause to Megan and in the silence.
Thank you.
So yeah, for the last 5 to 10 minutes, I'd like to see with everyone where so the Maya Angelou quote, some might know it. It goes like, if you cannot change a situation, you have to change your attitude about it. And so it applies a lot to everything that Megan has taught us today. And how do you change your attitude? Sometimes you have to level up your level of frequency. So I'm just gonna lead you on some like breath work and some visualization. But for now, I'm gonna ask everyone, if possible, if they can touch their plexus, solar plexus right here, and touch it, and then just tap it like that. And you can unmute or raise your hands if you feel pain right here. Nobody.
It's pressure for me, not pain necessarily, but like a little pressure.
So what we're gonna do is that we just, yeah, Marlon. So right here, like it's where we hold a lot of tension. So I'm gonna ask you to like use basically like your hand like that, and then take your fist like that, and then just push it like that, like not too hard, and just breathe into it. So we're gonna do one deep inhale and breathe from the belly and not from the chest. Okay, so one deep inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. And we're gonna do that for 30 seconds at your own rhythm. All right, so now I'm gonna ask everyone to unmute themselves. And basically, I'm gonna say inhale, and on the exhale, we're just gonna say the sound together. And the sound like I already explained, it's a sound that in every culture we give agreement. So now we're just gonna open. So we're gonna do a good inhale and exhale. Are we ready? 1, 2, 3. Inhale.
Mm.
Inhale. Inhale. So that's the frequency of agreement. So now I'm going to lead you to something. It might be difficult for some people. It might be very easy for some others. Is basically, I'm going to ask you to close your eyes. So I'm going to close your eyes with you, but I'm just going to lead you in this meditation that could be intense, but I feel a lot of people are needing that today. So I feel this is what the gods of told me to do. So you're gonna just close your eyes and think of a moment in your life where you feel that your peace, your love, your positivity has been invaded, and you're gonna think of that, and we're gonna think of that for 30 seconds. I want you to really think of the person or the situation or the people for 30 seconds. And when you think of them, you see them as like part of a movie. You are not part of the scene like you used to. You are seeing them in part of the movie. We call that the cosmic perspective, is to basically able to be objective, but looking at yourself, your past self, in that very difficult situation. And I want you to like really feel like where in your body you feel the pain, and where in your body you feel the pain. And so now the 30 seconds are finished. Now we're gonna basically do like some transmutation. So now I want you to basically say in your head, I love, forgive the person or the situation, and I wish them well. So let's say in our head multiple times for like 20 seconds. I love and forgive the person name or the situation. And then while you're doing that, make sure you do some deep breathing from the stomach. Because you want to mean those things. You don't want to just hear this crazy guy online on Zoom and just think, oh yeah, I'll do what he's saying. And like you really want to mean those things. I love and forgive that person or that situation or those people, and I wish them well. So now I want you to open the eyes and just we're gonna do accountability bodies. So we're just gonna say out loud, but you're just gonna say, I love and forgive, and I wish them well. And we're gonna all say that together. Are we ready? Without naming the person, but we already know the person or the situation or the type of people. All right. 1, 2, 3. I love
I
and
love and
forgive
forgive,
With
and wish
and
them
I
well.
wish them well.
I'm
I
well.
love and forgive
I
and
love
wish them
I
well.
love and forgive, and I
well.
wish them well.
I love and forgive and wish them well.
I wish
I
them
I
I
well.
wish
love
them
and
well.
forgive, and I wish them well.
Love and forgive, and I wish them well.
So now we're going to close again our eyes. And so in life, it's always about the sword and the shield. But the idea of the sword is a lot to like hurt people. So I want you to think of a sword that is not there to fight, but to transcend the situation or to transcend people. Basically, we go through them. We don't go and hurt them, because while you hurt someone, you hurt humanity. Except if the person that you're hurting or is about to hurt someone, so that's a different concept. But now we're gonna work on protection and great gratitude. So the protection is gonna be, imagine now that you have a shield. So think back of the situation, the negative situation that you were in, but now that you have done love and forgiveness, that you have like let them go, think back of a shield, because they're gonna come back. Of course they're gonna come back. And but you're on a different frequency now. So they're gonna feel your shield. And then imagine of a sword that is like full of light, almost like Star Wars. And with that sword, you imagine that it's switched to become like kind of a rod, a rod full of light. And with that light, you basically you are thanking uh, God, the universe, and this creative force, whatever you believe. Thank you for like giving me that experience. That way I can strengthen myself and do my work to become like my higher self. So think of this negative situation, and now think that you have a protective shield, and then you have a sword, and you're gonna repeat, I protect myself, and I'm grateful for the experience. And repeat that in your head. I protect myself and I'm grateful for this experience. I protect myself and I'm grateful for this experience. I protect myself and I'm grateful for this experience. Now, same that we did before, like we open our eyes and now it's going to be accountability. We're not only speaking out loud for ourselves, but for everybody in the Zoom, for everybody like around the world. Like we're going to say together, I protect myself and I'm grateful for this experience. Okay? 1, 2, 3. I
I
protect
Protect
myself
myself, and
and
I'm
And
I'm
I
grateful
grateful
for
for
this
this
experience.
experience.
I protect
Protect
myself
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 Protect
and I'm grateful
myself,
for this
and
experience.
I'm grateful for this experience.
I protect myself
protect
I protect
and
myself
I
I'm
protect
grateful for
and
this
myself,
grateful for
and
this
grateful.
I'm
experience.
grateful for this experience.
So you see now there's like, so this like builds levels. So you can use that in life, because in life, when someone hurts you or a situation, love and forgiveness will help you to like let go of them. But as my dear brother Yuriko knows, is a master in martial art. You must know also how to protect yourself. It's like you have a guard always, but some people you need more of a guard than others. But even someone that you love absolutely, there's some moment in yourself based on your openness. You need to learn how to open and to close. And so when you want to open, you do love and forgiveness, which help you to heal. But then when you want to close, you use protection and gratitude, because it will help you to protect your energy, and also understanding the meaning of why those people keep coming. And the more you do that, the more you will raise your frequency. And with the law of affinity, you will not even have to deal with those people. Or you might find other people that will help you to love more yourself, to forgive more yourself, to protect yourself. Maybe they're going to be your bodyguards. I mean, not literally, but energetically, and might be literally,
Yeah, I
because
love
I know
literal
Yoriko
ones.
got my back,
Oh yeah.
and so yeah, so I wanted to give you that those type of tool, the shield and the sword of light are very powerful tools, and what you can do in the spiritual world will help you in the physical world to not become a kind of of the person that hurt the other people, because hurt people, heal people, but there's a really fine line. One day we can become the perpetrator, and one day we can become the healer, but the choice, the freedom of life is that we can choose to be the baddest motherfucker in the world in a good way or in a bad way. So the choice is yours, and I think reconnecting with yourself, reconnecting with others, and reconnecting with God, the universe, and the life source, it helps you to know, oh, okay, this thing on earth gave us that heart. Nobody can control the heart. Right now, I don't even I train underwater, and it's very difficult to control your heart, but somehow there's a force that's always making you alive. It's a
Yeah.
creative force. It's not a hurting force. If God or the life source wanted us to really die in one click, that's it. Just the heart will stop. So there's a creative force, and if we can have the highest, because this love, forgiveness, protection, and gratitude is the highest level, and if we can have gratitude, then it access the meaning, and then therefore we can truly embrace a higher self, and over time, it might sound crazy what I'm saying, but over time it will push away everybody that does not have your level of frequency, either because not compatible or because lower level of frequency. And so that was this meditative, guided breath work and visualization. And I give back the mic to my lovely wife, Megan Devine.
Thank you so much. Yeah, we hope to see you all at the upcoming event on April 12th. And if not, we hope to keep reconnecting with you, like we said, at the Sunday circles. And we'll be sure to give anyone who registered for this, we'll be sending you any information on upcoming events and things like that. And yeah, I would love for us to just all end with the gesture. Um, so, Cliff, if you can guide us
Oh
into
yeah, that's for sure. Hey,
some final mm-hms.
so it's what is interesting with this gesture. So it goes like that, and in real life, it goes like this. So you have one sword of light, another sword of light. It creates a shield. It creates a shield, and then you attach with each other. So we're gonna start like that, and we're gonna say mm-hmm. But let's start with nothing. So I'm gonna say reconnect, and then when I say reconnect, you say we are reconnected. And when I said forward, you say for love. And then I say, mm-hmm. It's a call and response to have a kind of a unity activation. Are we ready?
Yes.
Reconnect.
We are
We are
We are
reconnected
Reconnected
reconnected. For what?
But
for
love.
for
for
love.
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 Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
I know I'm late. Mm-hmm.
Marlon!
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Marlon.
He
Harlan.
just
So,
used the signal. We signaled
And,
him and then he appeared.
Kind of like, man.
and
The
I,
reconnect
I,
signal.
I wanted also to give a big shout out to my brother Yuriko, who just got one of the most amazing dream life. He's gonna portray Luffy. In One Piece, he's the main character. He has like long arms, and he's gonna portray him at Universal Studio. I don't know if you want to share that a little bit, Yuriko, but give him like a big round of applause because that's a dream come true.
Thank you. Yeah, the anime One Piece is
hold
doing
up.
a yeah, the anime One Piece is doing a fan fest at Universal Studios, and so they're doing a stunt show for the first time. And this is the second year they've done a One Piece event. And so the stunt show is going to be on the Waterworld set, and I'll be Luffy, the main character.
Awesome.
Woo!
Amazing.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's my
super
Congratulations.
favorite
excited.
show, right?
So cool. Thank
Let's
you.
That's
go.
awesome.
Yeah. And that's the kind of thing that, thank you so much, Cliff, for bringing that, because we really want to keep on celebrating each other. That's what helps us to elevate more and more, is if we celebrate as we elevate. Didn't mean to rhyme, but we all know I'm gonna start rapping, so
Bars, I know.
just getting started, But thank you all
Yeah.
so much.
And if you have anything that is like you want to share to celebrate, make sure you let us know. Sometime we can reshare on the Reconnect page, because it's important to not only do the work, but each time we make a step that we also celebrate. Too often we're like, oh, next work, okay, I gotta do the next work. But it's so important that we take a time to celebrate, even if it's just drinking a fresh a cold juice of coconut water and you have your own little thing. That's my thing.
Yeah, I love it.
All right.
I
Yeah.
love to get to know all those little things from all of you. So thank you so much. I hope to continue the journey, and we hope to see you all soon.
Thank you. Good night.
Yes. Thank you. It was
Thank you.
awesome.
Mhm.
Good night.
Everyone.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you
Good
for bearing
night.
with me too.
Take care. Thank
Welcome,
you
All
so
Mike.
much.
right.
See ya. See you
Yes.
soon, everyone.
Thanks for joining
See
me.
y'all.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
All right, thank you, Megan.
Of
You have a good
course.
one.
Yeah, you too, Mark. Have fun
Now, real
camping.
quick, is there anything that I may have missed that we didn't cover when I came?
You know what? Um, if there was, this is recorded. So I don't, did you get the emails? Do you get the emails where I send like the recording from the week before? Are you able to see
I
those?
don't think so. I'll
Okay.
have to check though.
Just on Instagram, send me your email. That way I have it correct, and then I'll make sure that you get the
Okay.
recording.
Oh, bet.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you. And
Of course.
I apologize for being late. I apologize.
No worries. You're out
Yeah.
camping. That's so fun. Enjoy nature. That's one of the best
Oh,
ways
thank you.
to elevate. So,
Thank you.
yeah.
A whole week of it. So
Oh, amazing.
it's gonna be some recalibrating over here.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's the great part
Yeah.
about nature. Yes. I love it. All
I,
right.
I
Well,
won't hold you
enjoy.
up too long, but I want to say I thank you and Cliff and for having opening up the space for us to connect and discover ourselves. I
Yeah.
really appreciate that.
Of course. Yeah, we're glad to have you. Thank you for joining us.